What's going on, everybody? About a month ago, I started working on a more melodic / emotional drum and bass track, and I thought it could be a great example to show you guys how to make something similar. The first thing I started with was the chord progression. Since I knew I wanted something a bit sadder, I needed to find a way to get that across right away with the chords, and I knew exactly what to do. This is a trick that I learned from working with an R&B producer a while ago, who said that longer chord progressions can create more tension and emotion in your music. So I thought, why not have this chord progression last 16 bars instead of the usual 8 to really let the song breathe and have some space for the other elements. I added in some accent notes here and there, and I think that it really shows that sometimes it's about the notes you don't play instead of the notes you do play. I then layered the same exact MIDI onto a Rhodes that has this really cool texture to it. We then went ahead and did this one more time with just the chords from that original MIDI and copied that onto a pad for even more texture and more vibes. Building ambience with different layers is a very important part of what can make or break a song like this. I go over this along with a bunch more useful tips and techniques in my How to Make Ambient Melodies Effortlessly video, and I will leave a link to that video at the end of this video. I then layered in a very repetitive kind of plucky sound with a tremolo effect on it. Something I like to do in a lot of songs is just to have one very simple but very repetitive layer to kind of make the listener feel like they're in a bit of a trance. I then moved on to this high-pitched synth layer that I really love the texture of. This was really just to add a little bit of ear candy, super simple, nothing crazy, nothing distracting. I then threw in this little accent chord to try and keep the progression a little bit more interesting. Since it's taking place over 16 bars instead of 8, it did start to feel a little stale, and adding small things like this is a sure way to keep things more interesting. Then I layered in my favorite sub with a Reese-based layer from Serum, just following the root note to the chord progression with some slides here and there. And then after all of that, I still felt like the song just needed one more layer. Nothing crazy, just another layer of something ambient to throw in when the drums come in. It felt like it just needed one more layer to really switch things up. I then moved on to the drums, nothing crazy here. It did take me a while to find the right samples for this song because most drum and bass drum samples are a bit more aggressive. I feel like these samples that I found from a Cashmere drum kit had a nice balance of punchy, hard hitting, but not overly aggressive. I also tried to do something a little different here where I layered in some lo-fi drums during the verse just to keep things a little bit more different. And when you add it all up, that is the finished song, guys. That is how I made an emotional drum and bass track. We covered just about every aspect of making a song like this, from writing a slower chord progression to creating accents and leads to build ambience, and went over a little bit of what I was looking for when it came to sound selection with the melody and the drums. I am planning on doing a video sometime in the next week or two where I go over how I mix my drum and bass songs, and I will be going over how I mix this song as well as the rest of the songs on my EP out on the 19th of January called Rebirth. If you're interested in seeing that, I would really appreciate if you left a like and subscribed. And you would be one of the greatest people ever if you pre-saved the EP with the link in the description. If you're a fan of ambient / liquid drum and bass, and if you've liked any of my previous songs, I think you'll really end up enjoying the songs on the EP. Thank you guys for watching, and I'll see y'all in the next one.